Salespeople are constantly asking me how they should handle this objection or that objection. And what I find is the 5 most common objections sound something like this. Number 1, your price is too high. Number 2, this just isn't the right time. Number 3, I really need to think this over. Number 4, I don't have the budget for this. Or number 5, I could get a better price from your competitor. Those are the common objections, and people are always saying, how do I deal with these? But my response is always the same. You're probably not going to like what I tell you. And you know what? You probably won't like what I'm about to tell you either. But it is unquestionably the single best way to handle any of these common objections. So fasten your seatbelt and be ready to change the way that you even think about handling objections. In this video, I'm going to show you the #1 way to handle the 5 most common objections. Check it out. Again, let's re-examine the 5 most common objections. First, your price is too high. Second, this just isn't the right time. Third, I need to think this over. Fourth, I don't have the budget for this. And fifth, I can get a better price from your competitor. Now, everyone wants to know what they say when a prospect says this, but I'm going to show you something far more important. How to actually avoid hearing those objections in the first place. The #1 way to handle these objections is to avoid these objections in the first place by ultimately helping your prospect articulate the value of solving their challenges. When you accomplish this, you avoid most of those objections from ever being said. So this means doing the following. First, get the prospect's challenges on the table. Ask questions to help the prospect articulate what is holding them back from optimal success in relation to whatever it is you sell. So that means if you sell things that help for operations or marketing or sales or finance or data or whatever, challenges with regards to that. Be sure to help the prospect clarify those top 3 issues, really fully understanding exactly first what they are and then how they affect the organization and the individual. Next, you want to ask what it would mean in dollars if they were able to solve those challenges. My challenge to you is get big numbers. Don't settle for little dinky numbers. Really dig into this. Be sure to include things like the opportunity cost of what they're losing right now as a result of not fixing those challenges. I hope you can see at this point that this is ultimately helping the prospect articulate the value of your solution without, by the way, ever talking about your offering yet. Next, we don't want to accept the first number we hear. We really want to get big numbers. I can't say this too many times. This is where you want to really push the prospect to be sure that they are fully understanding the opportunity cost of not changing, of not switching, and of ultimately not working with you, although you would never put it that way. And you do this by asking questions. You never tell them you're always asking. So ultimately, the cost of their challenges should be at least 10 times the cost of your solution. And if you can't get to that ratio, you're going to ultimately be in trouble when it comes to presentation time, and you're likely to start to get some of those objections. So this is the step to really hang in on until you've helped the prospect actually articulate that lost opportunity. So if you did this step correctly, you're going to dramatically avoid the vast majority of the objections that we talked about in the first place. But I know many people watching this are saying, okay, I did that, but I'm still getting that objection. Now it's time to reference back to the dollar value. So you can see why we've gone through this process. Now that you've created the value and you've gotten some dollars around it, now you have to reference back to it. So let's just imagine the prospect still, after this prospect says, your price is too high. Now you respond with, well, help me understand why you say that. We really want to get a clear sense of why the prospect is actually pushing back. Don't assume that you know why. And then, once you really understand, then reference back to the cost of the challenges that they mentioned. Say something like, you mentioned that the cost of this challenge was in that $5 million range. Is that still true? They say, yes. Your response is, then what do you think is a reasonable budget to fix a $5 million problem? Help me understand what I might have missed. And now, coming out of the role, let's still say you're not getting on the same page with price. Then you might say something like, well, in order to really solve this issue, the type of budget you would need is X. That being the case, is this conversation over? Now, I know some people are saying, whoa, that's pretty aggressive, that's pretty tough. Well, you've got to be tough with prospects when you're getting price issues. You don't have to be difficult, and you can do it in a gentle way. You can caress that tough love, but you really have to hang in there. So there is the #1 way to handle the 5 most common objections. I want to hear from you. Which of these ideas did you find most useful? Be sure to share below in the comment section to get involved in the conversation. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have this awesome free ebook on 25 tips to crush your sales goals. Just click right here. Seriously, it's an amazing book and it's free. Just click right here. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube because that really helps me out. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking right here to get access to a new video just like this one each and every week.